Where's John? There he is. Okay. Hi, everyone. I've asked all of you to be here because I think it's important that we talk about this topic and how important it is really to our continued efforts to combat gun violence. All of us have seen the headlines, we have experienced the news reports, and so it seems in many ways I am bewildered that we are here to talk about whether or not the GIVE grant should or shouldn't be a part of one of the tools in the toolbox that we have here in Niagara Falls. The City of Niagara Falls has enjoyed the use of this grant, I think, for 13 years. This would be the 14th application of this grant. And the funny thing is that this grant goes beyond just the Niagara Falls Police Department. It impacts other law enforcement agencies, probation, district attorney's office, sheriff's office. And so in so many ways, this is really an opportunity for all of these agencies to collaborate and to be able to provide the kind of resources that can help combat gun violence. And what you see here, both on the table and in those pictures, those are the kinds of things that happen when all of these agencies get together and work in a concerted way to help protect the community. Now, is it perfect? Well, if it were perfect, then every community from coast to coast would take this grant and we would have no more gun violence forever. And I don't think anybody in this room believes that that's even realistic. But what is realistic is the ability to get into the community, the ability to work with community partners to help discover and recover illegal guns that are out there. You know, I also think, in both the chief as well as the coordinator, I think the other thing too to remember is that unfortunately journalists are writing an awful lot about the community aspect of the GIVE grant. Just so that we're clear, really clear, the community aspect of the GIVE grant is less than 10% of the grant, less than 10%. Primarily, this grant has to do with law enforcement work in this community. It helps support the Crime Analysis Center and some of the work that gets done there, so that data-driven information can be delivered to law enforcement agencies to be more effective. Those are the elements of the GIVE grant. And suggestions that somehow or another, you know, we support the grant, but we need more information. Well, you'll hear about the opportunities as well as the explanations that have been given to council members, most specifically council members Miles and Cawley. And I might also add, and this I think unfortunately may be part of the issue, Councilmember Cawley has had the chance to vote on the GIVE grant twice, and both times he voted no. So I'm not so sure that statements post the vote that we support the GIVE grant support the facts on the ground. You know, this notion that somehow helping the taxpayers by not permitting a grant that helps to underwrite the extra law enforcement services, by paying overtime in those investigations and in those capacities, really isn't protecting taxpayers. It's just another one of those excuses that gets made once the consequences of your vote start to come up into your face. The reality is, as that old line goes, you know, once you're explaining, you're losing. And so all you've been hearing from the council members who have said no is rationalization and explanation. And you're going to hear from people connected to this grant why none of that None of that is an accurate reflection of the facts. The facts are that information is constantly available, as well as the door open, and I can speak specifically with regard to former Chief Faso, who heads up the grant area here. I can't tell you the opportunities he has provided for information, and specifically to Councilmember Miles and Councilmember Cawley. The last thing I'm going to say before I turn it over to Chief Ligomari is one of the comments made by a council member, and I can't remember if it was Councilmember Cawley, was something about objecting to police officers getting overtime. Let me just say that, you know, those employees that are part of a collective bargaining agreement, whether they are police officers, firefighters, teachers, all of them exist under that collective bargaining agreement. And notwithstanding the fact that the GIVE grant expired, the previous one, July, last night I had the chance to be at the National Night Out. And after a conversation that I had with Chief Ligomari, you know, there were some officers there who I believe they were just there to volunteer. But then there were others who, while on duty, stopped in just to make sure that they got themselves out there and were present. In the end, this is really about community service, but to suggest for a moment that these public servants are not entitled to that which is provided to them under their collective bargaining agreement, I think really begs the question of how is it that I can sit and negotiate the contracts for these individuals and include that in the contract and then say to them, oh, but by the way, this doesn't count. When you're doing a police investigation, you're on your own. That just doesn't make common sense. So, on the Thursday after the meeting, I had an immediate message with the council chair that it was important for us to have this matter get back before the council, before too much time went on, simply because of the importance that this grant has to all of the activities that it covers. To date, that hasn't happened. I'll continue to press for that because I think this is important. This among so many other things. I mean, it's remarkable. Some of the things that are being stated to journalists about wanting maps and plans, it's kind of remarkable. In other words, I think there's this idea that somehow or another these members are going to manage this grant. When individuals start thinking that their oversight responsibility includes micromanaging, that's when you have additional paving assistance not happening, additional grass cutting assistance not happening, sidewalk work. All of these things are critical services that the public expects. And yet, when you have micromanaging, those things don't happen because a council doesn't approve the entry into a contract. And so when you have a law enforcement piece like the GIVE grant that has provided pretty successful results and continuously is reviewed by the Division of Criminal Justice Services for its activities and consistently gets good grades on its performance, to say that it needs to be managed now by members of the council, I think results in why we're here today, talking about how critical it is to get them to realize the importance of this grant in the entire umbrella of things that law enforcement does. So again, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Nick Ligomari.
Thank you. I'm Chief Nick Ligomari, Niagara Falls Police, and I would just like to reiterate how the mayor said this is extremely important to our fight for gun violence in the city of Niagara Falls. in our community. So I'd just like to give you a quick overview of GIVE, maybe to answer any questions you had about it. So we've been involved with GIVE since 2014. That's when it first started. And prior to that, we were lucky enough to be part of what used to be called Operation Impact through DCJS, which was similar, but each year these programs have evolved through data-driven, evidence-based, just each year it gets better and better, and it helps us to move forward. So all agencies that outside of New York City with high rates of gun violence are eligible for this grant. So we're one of the agencies that are eligible, and like the mayor said, we team up with the district attorney's office, probation, and the sheriff's offices, as well as the New York State Police, Department of Corrections, ATF, which assists us with analyzing and running all these guns, other nonprofit and social services, as well as academic institutions. The 4 pillars of GIVE are people. We call them top offenders. So we know that there's a small group of people that drive the crime in Niagara Falls, and similar in other communities. We call them our top offenders. We also key in on places. There's small areas throughout the city that consistently have high violence and crime, and those are our hot spots. We have alignment. We coordinate our strategies with local prevention agencies like SNUG, who are here today. And also there's engagement with other community and the community in general. We try to engage with community and the people in the community and block groups and things like that. It's all evidence-based. It was mentioned before about our Crime Analysis Center. We're so lucky to have them in our building and working with us on a daily basis to help combat all crime, but mostly gun violence for us when it comes to the GIVE grant. We also are big on a foundation of GIVE is procedural justice, that everyone has a voice, that we're neutral when we're dealing with, and we're unbiased. We respect everyone, and we try to build trust within the community. So those are also very important things that the GIVE grant focuses on. I mentioned a lot of these are core strategies. These are the things like hotspot policing, focused deterrence. Place network investigations is something new this year, and that basically is us teaming up with our DPW, our code enforcement, our fire department. We usually when it has to do with a location, a building, and we can handle these things. We used it against the bakery restaurant, who were having all kinds of large parties, but the building was not up to code. It didn't have the correct fire extinguishers, so on and so on. There was several violations. So this is also a tool that we can use when we have issues. And last but not least, community and youth engagement. We're constantly doing youth engagement, everything from Christmas toy giveaways, shop with a cop, movie nights we do regularly. Recently, the different festivals, we always try to have officers there. So we continue, even when we're out doing enforcement, we try to engage with the kids in the neighborhood, whether it's throwing them a football, just talking to them, getting out of our car, all things that are very effective, we think. Give foundations, these are mandates, these are what we have, this is what DCJS says, you have to do this in this grant. We had to hire an anti-violence coordinator, which you'll hear from in a minute. So they give us specific criteria, and we have to follow it and hire an anti-violence coordinator. A non-fatal shooting investigation. We One of our detectives who's here, he is our non-fatal shooting detective, and he works specifically under the GIVE grant to only handle gun cases. And then we're mandated to be out in the community and engage with the youth. These are some of the numbers throughout the years. Our peak in 2021, just basically during and after COVID, and you'll see the sharp decline throughout the years, which isn't a coincidence. It's mainly because of all the extra work we're allowed to do under the GIVE grant. 2024, there was 1 shooting homicide. 2025, there was 0. And up until GIVE 12 ended, there was 1. So it's doing what it's intended to do, we believe. Again, this is just a bar graph. Year-to-date, January to June, these are each year under the GIVE grant from 2021. You can see sharp decline in numbers. Again, just another way of showing the graphs. This is, we get this monthly, and we review it. All right, this is the summary of what we proposed to New York State DCGS and what they approved. So this isn't just something we came up with. They approved this strategy and said, yes, we've looked it over, you're good to go. So our strategies focus on hotspots, focused deterrence, community youth engagement, and non-fatal shooting investigations. And the award was split up as follows. So Niagara County Award, we were awarded $2,176,659, which that just shows was $7,000 less than last year. Our department, out of that, being the lead agency, we get what you see there, $1,177,700. The Niagara County District Attorney's Office, that's their allotment. The Sheriff's Office's allotment, and probation. So all 4 of our agencies work in concert together for this. And then the final funding breakdown. This is how our budget looks for this grant. Total for the hotspot policing, focused deterrence, total youth engagement, non-fatal shooting, and then the position breakdown, out of that money comes for our non-fatal shooting detective, 2 crime analysts that we pay for out of that money, and also our GIVE coordinator comes out of that money. And then there's some travel and training that they do, which makes up the award. And now John Faso would like to
Say a few words. Well, I'm glad I stayed up to write this, because you took most of what I was going to say. So I may repeat myself a little, or repeat some things, but bear with me. As we said, GIVE is a part of the state's nationally recognized program. It's a comprehensive plan to reduce shootings and save lives and build safer and stronger communities. As the chief just pointed out, the initiative supports 28 police departments in 21 counties in New York State. The plan focuses on enforcement, intervention, and prevention. For us, GIVE provides the Niagara Falls Police Department and our partners in the county, which are the District Attorney's Office, the Probation Office, and the Sheriff's Office, funding for salaries, overtime, equipment, with no impact on the city or the county's budget. Let me repeat that. No impact on the city's budget. We use evidence-based strategies that are proven to work. They've been proven for the past 20 years since we started this initiative with Operation Impact. This has contributed to shooting incidents with injuries reaching all-time lows in communities across New York State, especially, as those statistics just showed, the city of Niagara Falls. As you may all know, in 2025 was the first time in 20 years since we started these stats that we had zero shooting fatalities in the city of Niagara Falls. That's GIVE. Now I want to point out something as far as my position in this GIVE grant goes. And I'm glad to see former Councilman Miles is here because he can attest to this. This isn't the first time, as the mayor stated, that Councilman Cawley voted no to accept the GIVE grant. He did so in his first run as a councilman. As a response to that, I invited Councilman Cawley to my office. I also invited Councilman Miles to my office and gave them a breakdown of everything GIVE. I talked to them about the entire program. I left that conversation with, if you have any questions at any time, call me. Here is my phone number. I'll answer any questions. This is all public knowledge. We have nothing to hide. I will answer your questions. Similarly, when Councilwoman Miles first took office, I reached out to her. I invited her to my office. I gave her the same breakdown that I gave Councilman Cawley. I gave her the same offer. If you at any time have any questions about this grant, feel free to call me. Additionally, this past March, I gave a detailed presentation to the entire city council at a city council meeting. I gave them everything GIVE, all the information about the GIVE initiative in the city of Niagara Falls. I'm not sure how much more information I could have given. I just want to point out another thing. About 2 weeks ago, as part of our community engagement program, we called it a community fair at the city market here in Niagara Falls. The idea was we brought all of our service providers. I think there was 15 or more service providers, from mental health to drug addiction providers. SNUG was there, NARP was there. We had all of our providers centrally located at City Market. It was a great turnout. We cooked over, I think, 400 hot dogs, had an ice cream stand. Everybody had a good time, and they all received information about GIVE and about all of the services that are available here in Niagara Falls and Niagara County. I personally invited Councilwoman Miles, sent her a flyer, asked her to pass the word on to the rest of the council, and welcome them there. Needless to say, they were all no-shows. That's all I have to add. Turn it back over to him.
Thank you, John. It was a good event at the city market.
It was.
I think we have someone from SNUG. Perhaps you can come on up. It's one of the partners within this GIVE grant.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Bordner, and I am representing the SNUG program. SNUG is a gun violence intervention program, and I have a simple message. Could SNUG operate effectively without partnering with GIVE? Maybe, but it would be extremely difficult. We rely heavily on information, intel that GIVE provides, that the police department provides. My SNUG staff meet regularly with Niagara Falls Police Department for intel. The individuals that carry guns like this are the individuals that our outreach team and our social worker are meeting with and working with to try to prevent violence in this city. Without that information, without knowing who those individuals are, there'd be countless other tragic incidents that happened over the July 4th weekend. We hear a lot about the tragedies in the city. We don't hear about often enough all of the times those tragedies were interrupted. And those are interrupted by the work of the SNUG team with partnership with the GIVE initiative to make sure that the right individuals are being worked with in the community, that the community understands that there's individuals out there to interrupt the violence, to work with individuals. When there is an incident in this city, the intel from the police department, from the GIVE initiative, helps keep more incidents from happening. It helps to curb retaliations. The SNUG staff are countless times working with the police department to know who might retaliate, who they have to go talk to, who they have to wrap their services around to make sure that the city is safer. And without this partnership, that's not going to happen. Thank you.
Now Bonnie Kane, if you want to come up.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Chelsea with me.
Oh, bring everybody up.
Bring everybody. Hi, I'm Dr. Bonnie Kane, and this is my co-director, Chelsea Elledge.
Hi, my name's Chelsea. Niagara Alliance for Restorative Practices is one of my favorite things to be a part of because we build stronger communities through restorative practices, through trauma-informed. It's preventative information because in order to make a difference, we need to be at a table listening to each other, listening to understand, not just respond, and that takes time, effort, and intentionality. We spend time with schools, community organizations, agencies, the police, to build a collective efficacy. If we're not all at the table listening to one another, particularly when we may not always have the same opinion, we are never going to drive this work to impact in a positive way. We use trauma-informed practices and healing-centered in all our work in order to make everyone feel seen, heard, and valued, but also put clear accountability of how we are going to prevent these incidences from happening again once they go through the process. Specifically with this GIVE grant, we are able to expand our network beyond just schools, and to Bonnie to talk a little bit more specific.
So the services we do impact the community, like Chelsea said, and we do restorative circle trainings, and we work with schools and community organizations. But the GIVE grant has allowed us to initiate probation circles with youth that are involved with the justice system. So through the grant, we are running facilitating circles with youth that are at risk in both the city of Niagara Falls and in Lockport. We didn't have enough funding to expand this, but now we're running circles twice a month, once in Niagara Falls, once in Lockport, and we're seeing youth that we can make a difference with. Like Chelsea said, we're listening to them, we're giving them a voice, and we're also holding them accountable to what they've done and working with probation through those services. We do a whole lot more. We're the restorative justice, restorative practice organization for Niagara County. Erie County has a large one. Rochester has a large one. So we're Niagara County. We've also been talking to Albany about the Youth Part Mentoring Program. We're hoping to expand this. Again, this would be relying on some support and some funding from the GIVE program, and this is through the New York State Unified Court System. So it would be a mentoring program, again, for our youth that have felony charges. So there's a lot happening, and we do depend a lot on the support and the funding from GIVE. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to once again thank you all for being here. The purpose really is to provide information so that you are fully informed with regard to how impactful this grant is in so many ways, and you've heard it really from a lot of different angles, all of which, as former Chief Faso indicated, all of which was open and could be made available to any one of the council members that asked. So again, we appreciate you being here, and thank you so much.